In the previous video, we talked about setting norms as a community, about how people will treat each other. But that isn't the end of the story. No matter how healthy a community is or how much people respect each other, there will be times when someone crosses the line. The final set of expectations or agreements that a community needs to have is around how people will react when they're informed that a norm violation has occurred. And it's super simple. If you didn't ask first, stop, ask, respect the answer. No big deal. It's normal. Similarly, pick a different way of having fun that works for everyone, or get help so you can solve whatever the problem is without lashing out. These are incredibly simple behaviors. You just pause, check in, and fix the problem. But this often isn't how people react. I'll talk more about this in the next video, but I want to highlight that a lot of people who are being bullied have had the experience that if they say anything, no matter how mild, they will face retaliation. And as a result, they don't say anything at all. And it's important to recognize that this does not happen by accident. Making it impossible to speak up and address harms, even at a micro level, prevents people from building the skills and experience that they need to overcome large-scale harms in their society and challenge broader systems of exploitation. Overcoming this is hard because you're not just trying to change the situation right in front of you. You're having to pull the whole system it's attached to along with it. The good news is that if you successfully do that, it has a much wider impact than you might expect. Just don't be surprised when it's difficult. So you should expect to get some pushback, whether it's people being uncomfortable, mockery, doubling down, etc. It will happen. The three main norms from the last video: ask first, have fun in ways that work for everyone, and solve problems without lashing out. These were chosen strategically to serve as early warning signals. Minor violations of them will almost certainly occur well in advance of serious harm being done. Like if someone forgets to ask first when they're coming in to hug their friend, it probably isn't going to be a huge problem. But how they react when you prompt them to ask first tells you how concerned you should be about them doing greater harm. If someone gets defensive and doubles down, that is a huge red flag that this person will violate much more serious personal boundaries if they get a chance. And the community needs to be unified in insisting that that is not how we respond. It's important to sweat the small stuff. We have to be able to address minor boundary and norm violations without fear of the situation blowing up. Because if we can't, then the community isn't going to be able to intervene as more and more severe violations occur. That's how we get to the point where someone ends up with life-altering trauma, so somebody else could have 10 minutes of fun. So, what does responding to someone doubling down look like? You can apply all the tools from this video series to it, from staying in your social brain yourself, to identifying if there's a recurring problem and finding the right people to address it, to cushioning the impact while it's being worked on. It can involve being direct. When someone reminds you to ask first, you need to pause and ask, not double down. Or it can involve reaching out to allies, as we discussed in earlier videos. Or there might be a situation where you can't act in the moment, but recognizing that someone's not responding well when you bring something little up is your signal to get out of a potentially harmful situation and talk with someone afterward to brainstorm what more than can be done. Practicing responding in low-stakes situations can also help build your skills for situations where the stakes are higher. So, for example, you can look for opportunities to practice asking people to have fun in ways that work for everyone or to solve problems without lashing out. Something as simple as clearly stating desires like, I don't like playing violent games. Can we play something else? That's a way to practice. Sometimes people are reluctant to do this because they're afraid of finding out that their friends actually don't care. But flip that on its head. If they don't care now, what needs to happen to make sure your friend group is willing to make changes when something isn't working for everyone? And can you make that happen before you're in a situation like reckless driving, where the consequences of being afraid to speak up are much more severe? However you handle things, the key is to recognize that when you see someone doubling down, that's a problem and it needs to change. If someone's flustered the first time because they've never done this before and they get it wrong, that happens. But getting them up to speed is important enough to be worth putting the time in, especially if the person who's struggling with how to respond is a friend of yours. You don't want them to keep busting through people's boundaries to the point where they've done catastrophic harm. In the next video, we'll dive into another set of dynamics that makes this work much easier if you know they're there, And we'll tackle more of this question of why, when so much of this stuff is actually really simple, we don't do it. See you there.